Prince Harry is trying his hardest to salvage his reputation. But unfortunately for him, his PR stunt was met with exactly the opposite of what he'd hoped for. You'd think that he'd learnt by now that no matter how hard he tries to reinsert himself into the spotlight, the Canadian public aren't having it. Harry, grinning like the cat who got the cream, decided to show up solo at the Grey Cup in Vancouver. No Meghan in sight. The whole looking forward to the game getting started shtick didn't quite land though. Fans gave him an enthusiastic wave of boos. Yes, the loud unmistakable sound of rejection echoed through the stadium as the prince tried to show his face at the sporting event. Why was he even there, you might ask? Oh, just to promote the Invictus Games, which are set to take place in Vancouver and Whistler in February. As if the Invictus Games needed a boost from a prince whose entire public persona seems to revolve around complaining and seeking attention. His attempt to make nice with the Canadian public, a nation that once adored the monarchy, was an absolute flop. In fact, it turned into a moment of sheer mockery. Prince Harry, a man who's arguably done more to tarnish the royal brand than anyone else in recent memory, thought that he could waltz into a football game and win back the love of Canadians. The boos that greeted Harry at the Grey Cup weren't just random heckling. No, they were the culmination of years of public missteps. From stepping back from royal duties to his tell-all memoirs bashing his family, Harry's image has taken a nosedive. It's not exactly the kind of stuff that endears you to a traditionally monarchist country like Canada. In fact, the booing reflected a much deeper resentment. Canadians who once saw Harry as the charming, rebellious royal now view him as a man who's turned his back on the very institution that made him famous. It's almost as if they're saying, you can't just walk away from your royal duties and then expect a warm welcome when you come back begging for relevance. And if Harry thought the boos were bad, wait until you hear this. He wasn't even mentioned on the broadcast of the Grey Cup. That's right, his grand entrance, a non-event. The Canadian station airing the game didn't even acknowledge his presence. They were too busy covering the actual game. You know, the one Canadians care about. It's almost poetic how he showed up, and the only mention of him was a footnote in the news. People weren't there to watch a prince have his moment in the sun, they were there to see their beloved Toronto Argonauts win. And if Harry thought that showing up at the Grey Cup would earn him any kind of redemption, he was sorely mistaken. The Toronto Argonauts celebrated their victory in style, and guess who wasn't invited to the after-party? That's right, Harry. While the team basked in their glory, Harry's presence was about as welcome as a mosquito at a barbecue. Canadians weren't interested in the royal drama, they were too busy celebrating a win. The irony, Prince Harry's failed PR attempt couldn't have been more obvious. The numbers don't lie either. Harry's popularity in Canada has plummeted from a respectable 87% approval rating in 2018 to a mere 23% now. That's a steep decline, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. When you alienate your family, take shots at the institution that made you a household name, and constantly seem to be looking for ways to stay relevant, people start to lose interest, and fast. It seems that the once dashing Duke has become nothing more than a punchline and a reality show that no one asked for. Even his security team looked a little uneasy when the boos grew louder. It wasn't just a bad reception, it was a full-blown rejection.